What is going on, HaloUnion? My name is Orphanslayer, and I am bringing you the 4th episode of the montage review. Again, 5 great montages, so let's hop into it. So up first, we have Marksman and Tunney's Dualtage. This was a really fun, upbeat edit. The song was perfect for it, also fun and upbeat. The editing was really great. I thought Tunney did an excellent job with the syncing, and the pace was also really quick to match the song. I was actually really impressed with the angles. They were fantastic, and the way that Tunney implemented them was even better. The flow overall was really smooth, and that use of angles really helped that out a lot. The gameplay was also really clean and pretty goddamn nice for being leftovers, if you ask me. I'd probably give the gameplay an 8 out of 10 because it was mostly high-end social stuff. There were a couple fillers, but for the most part, it was pretty solid. And I'd actually give the editing an 8 out of 10 as well. It was exactly how chill montages should be edited, in my opinion. Really good, fun, upbeat, but everything was really easy to see. The gameplay was presented very well. I definitely think Tunney is a really good upcoming editor that everyone should keep an eye on. Up next, we have BesTMaN's Mini, which was edited by Chaos, and the first thing I noticed were the angles in the intro. They were actually really solid. The intro itself was pretty simple, but it did a great job of introducing the montage, and all the angles themselves were very well done. The sync in the first clip did seem a little bit weird, but from then on, it was really solid. Overall, the angle use was pretty good, and the angles themselves were well capped. The transitions were one of the main things in this montage that I really liked. Chaos did an excellent job throughout, coming up with unique masking transitions and stuff like that. On top of that, the color correction was pretty nice. I actually liked it a lot, even though it was gray, and gray CCs usually look pretty shitty in Reach. But he made it work, so props for that. The gameplay was clearly leftovers, considering BesTMaN is a pro. I was expecting, well, I mean, it's leftovers, so I wasn't expecting too much, but it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. I'd say the gameplay was a 7 out of 10, right around average for gameplay these days. A little lackluster for a pro, but not bad overall. The editing was an 8.5, I'd say. It was really solid. It's just that it didn't really have too much that stood out, and it did get a little repetitive at times, but overall it was also very well done, so props to Chaos for that. Up next, we have Stobbs and Fat Rat's 5-Day Dualtage, which was edited by FatRat. Both the soundtrack and the editing in this were relatively chill, but they were solid overall, as was the gameplay. For only 5 days, I was actually kind of impressed because, for me, any clip is like a fucking once-in-a-blue-moon occasion. So for someone to get as many as they did, they filled up like 7 minutes with only 5 days of gameplay. I was very impressed by that. As far as the editing goes, yeah, there wasn't too much to it. There was some syncing on the major sync points and some pan crops here and there, which was pretty good. Nothing too amazing, but yeah, pretty good. The intro to the second song I thought was a little weird with the fades to black. It made seeing the clips a little tough, but all in all, it wasn't too big of a deal. The gameplay I'd give a 6.5 out of 10, which is mainly because it was all in 5 days, so that's really understandable. The gameplay was pretty good for social. Nothing amazing, nothing really all that impressive. But for 5 days, again, definitely some good stuff. As far as the editing goes, also, I'd say probably around a 6 out of 10. It did its job, but it wasn't really impressive at all. The sync was decent, but for the most part, the editing was about as non-existent as it gets these days. But still, a decent job by FatRat, and I think overall, the montage was pretty good. Up next, we have KINZE's Halo Reach montage, edited by Spotlights. In general, I'm not a huge fan of rap music, but this is about as tolerable as it gets. I might even say that these were actually good songs. For the most part, they were really chill and upbeat, so pretty good song choice, actually, overall. The editing itself was also pretty chill. The sync was pretty weak at some points, but Spotlights did hit most of the major points, and overall, it wasn't all that bad. The gameplay was pretty solid. It wasn't the best I've seen, but it was definitely not bad. I'd say the gameplay was a 7 out of 10. It was pretty solid, but there were too many body shots and a whole bunch of DMR clips. Not too much in terms of sniping, although there were some pretty good clips. As far as editing goes, I'd give that a 7 out of 10 as well. It's solid for what it was trying to do, which is chill and show off the gameplay, but it's a bit of a letdown from what I expect from Spotlights, considering he's a pretty good, fast-paced editor. But definitely not a bad montage. Definitely would recommend peeing in your asshole. For this week's Montage Spotlight, we have Global, a community montage edited by Mattisson. This is one of the best Reach montages I've ever seen. The intro was absolutely amazing, so professional and clean and awesome. Overall, the editing was very clean and professional, as the intro was too. But the sync was great, save for a few random weird shit here and there. But there was like one part that I kind of thought was weird, but everything else was really, really solid. Some of the cuts were a little bit quick and got a little bit crazy at some points, but it wasn't bad at all. The color correction I thought was really nice, but it might have been a tad saturated. But it did add a little bit of life to Reach's gray boringness. The clips were pretty goddamn awesome. Some of them were probably the best I've seen in Reach as far as MLG gameplay goes. Mattisson's use of angles in this was really awesome. He used them so professionally and they fit in so well. And also, some of the track text was great on the angles. Very Katha-esque, I would say, and very clean. Some of the transitions were great, and the transition between songs were also really awesome. The songs themselves, I thought, were really good for a montage and fit well together. The way that Mattisson integrated Chris Puckett's commentary into the montage was also really awesome. He had track text on an angle, and that was awesome. And then he used it throughout the clip, and it was pretty well done. And to end the montage, Mattisson had a really great transition into the credits where it kind of zoomed out from the map into space and then showed like the globe spinning, which was pretty fucking cool. Honestly, I'd say that was one of my favorite parts of the montage. And you never say the ending of a montage is the best part, but honestly, I was very impressed with that, and it was pretty goddamn cool. I would say the editing was a 9.9 out of 10 because it was probably the best editing in Reach, but there were a few cuts that were weird, and that one point, which I don't remember the time, but I'll probably post it in the comments, so if you guys are really interested, you can go check it out, although I'm sure most of you don't give a shit, but yeah. But yes, definitely very good editing overall. I would give the gameplay a 9 out of 10. It was some of the best I've seen in Reach, but it was clearly kind of old. A few of the clips were I'd say, but only a couple montages really top it. I'd say Campy's is up there, maybe Straight Sick and Prototype, but for the most part, pretty goddamn good gameplay, pretty goddamn good editing, pretty goddamn good montage. I'm saying pretty goddamn so much in this. That's just fucking annoying at this point. But yeah. That about wraps it up. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. As usual, make sure to click on the screen right now or look in the description for all the montages and go check out the editors and the players and the montages themselves. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you next week.
What is up? My name is Platypus Bob. I am here from the magical city of Paris in France. I would like to tell you about the crepes and the croissants. This montage had wonderful editing.